Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we combine a love for movies and television with not a lot of actual knowledge about movies or television. I'm your host, Joseph, and usually this is the part where I would introduce our other co-hosts, but we forgot to record this when we were all together, because this is a bit of a special episode. We watched two big recent Netflix properties, Stranger Things and Neon Genesis Evangelion, and had a lot of feelings about them, so we decided to make a special little minisode just for you guys. So, because there's not a more graceful transition, this is it. Enjoy. That's it for Spider-Man Far From Home. What have we been watching, guys?
I have watched, continued on my office trek, I'm so fucking close to being done. I watched a show on Netflix called Dead to Me.
Yeah.
Starring Linda Cardellini, Christina Applegate, James Marsden. Really like that show.
I like all those people.
I hear it's really good.
It's very good. It's kind of like a study on. It's produced by Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, which I found to be interesting because it's not super funny. Right. It's like a study on grief and how people do and like different kinds of grief. Christina Applegate's husband was killed in a car accident, or he was in a hit and run. Linda Cardellini has had like multiple miscarriages and then early onset menopause, so she desperately wants a baby and she'll never have it. And they're best friends, or they become best friends while dealing with their grief. But there's a twist to it, and I'm not going to spoil it, but they give it away in the first episode, and so you, the audience, knows what the characters don't know, so you're watching this, this relationship, knowing all these secret facts.
I'm hoping it's not as dark as it sounds from the intro.
It's kind of dark, and it ends on a dark note, and so there's definitely going to be a second season, but I like it. Everyone's kind of a shitty person, but you feel for them.
Right.
Bad things happen to good people, bad things happen to shitty people. It's just the way the world works.
I'm surprised Nips is aghast, because it seems like his wheelhouse.
Based on the people that I know who have recommended it, I thought it was going to be like a fun time.
Oh, right on.
And so I'm surprised to hear that it's a bit of a bummer.
I wouldn't call it a bummer, per se, but it's not happy.
Sure.
Like, the things aren't good. Situations only get worse.
It must be good then, because the people that I know who recommend it are not people that watch, not fun stuff.
I will say, I think the grief study part of it is really interesting and very relatable.
Yeah.
And presents it in a very understandable way.
Right.
Plus I have just the biggest crush on Linda Cardellini.
Linda Cardellini's awesome.
I don't like her weird
her Velma changed
thing.
my life.
No.
Her Velma is good. She was
Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and Geeks, the fucking best. She never learns a thing on Freaks and Geeks.
No.
That
she's
always
kind of annoying in that show.
But yeah, no, she's awesome.
Yeah. I watched, what's the other show I freaking watched? I watched Stranger Things Season 3. And I did not really enjoy it. It was okay. I have thought each season has gotten... I like Season 2 quite a bit. Season 2 got a bad rep. Season 3 is clearly the worst to me. If I had any complaints, they changed the tone, which kind of makes sense. I get the kids are older. But
they lean into it real hard.
They lead into it really hard, more so than I think they needed to.
Yeah, totally.
The other part of that is, one of the great things that Stranger Things did is, when it originally sat out, was it's this tribute to these 80s things.
Right.
But still a really great story.
Right.
Season 3 is solely a tribute to 80s things.
Yeah.
The first season, there's kind of like an alien bit and stuff like that. There is a Terminator bit in season 3 that is so fucking hard. It is Terminator. It's not even a tribute to Terminator.
Right.
It's fucking Terminator.
You know what? It's funny. I haven't even gotten to where it gets like that, but I already know which guy you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, they give him away in the first scene.
Yeah.
And I didn't put it together then.
Right.
But now if someone had told me, you're like, oh, yeah, that dude is supposed to be fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This is also what this is also what I watched too. I watched first 4 episodes of it. It's one of those things where they give away shit that's going to happen by what the posters are on the wall.
Yeah.
Like these fucking 13-year-old kids have posters of the Thing on the wall. So there's going to be a body horror element to this.
That's another one. I didn't. The Thing reference is so fucking heavy-handed in this. Yeah, I'm going worse than Transformers on Stranger Things Season 3.
Here's where I am on it, because I loved the first season of this. I know it's not high art or anything, but the characters were all really endearing.
Hopper and Steve are my favorite fucking
Hopper
dudes.
and Steve are great. I think that, the 80s stuff felt really like you were in it, not just a bunch of references. And the horror story that was presented it was scary because, and I hate to use this term, but there were stakes. At that point, you really thought, oh shit, one of these kids could die. And I'm not a huge fan of killing off main characters. I don't think that's the only thing you need to do to build drama. But in a horror show, you have to believe somebody can die. And one of the problems with this is I can't believe that any of these kids are going to die.
Yeah.
One of my big problems with it is that Eleven has been out in the world for years now. Why does she still talk like a fucking caveman?
Yeah, still learning words.
It drives me fucking nuts. Yeah, the only thing I really loved about it was being in the mall.
Yeah.
You know, like the mall was really evocative of malls that time. There's like a Walden Books you see up on the second store, and like, man, I got like into like, man, I could go take $20 in there and tear some shit up. Like, you know, like I have very real memories of buying a Todd McFarlane issue of the Hulk in a Walden Books. So I was like, the whole time I was like, why aren't these kids up in Walden Books? But it's
just lost some of its magic.
It really has. Yeah. It's not as much fun as it once was. Also, another thing. Okay, the second season, there were some elements of characters being dumb. But I still felt like at that point, it was like, okay, all this weird shit had only happened once. You know, maybe Dustin really does think he just found a weird animal.
Yep.
At this point, it's all happened twice. As soon as weird shit starts happening,
you should know.
Everybody should just start saying, oh, it's that other dimension. Also, every time the problem is we're not all talking to each other, so let's get everybody together right fucking now.
Yeah.
That is always the problem.
So that reminds me of an interesting point. One of the things that I really, really enjoy about season 2 and why I defend season 2 a lot is I'm a fan of the, tropey break apart. In the second phase, you break apart. But the one thing season 2 does is it creates odd pairs. Eleven and Hopper, great together.
Right.
Steve and Dustin, great together.
Right.
This just comes up with excuses to keep those relationships instead of challenging those norms. And I don't appreciate that. The only new one you get is 11 and Max. And I do like it.
Right.
Those are some of my favorite parts of the show is when 11 and Max are together.
Right.
And a lot of that is in the mall and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Disappointing.
I mean, Steve and Dustin are still like endearing as a duo, but I agree there should have been more mix up to it and stuff like that.
And I will stop on Stranger Things, I promise. But Steve, the problem that I get with Steve in this one is there's a moment, again, going back to season 2, a great moment with Steve, which is he gets Nancy accuses him of all these things, never really caring, was never really part, only did what he had to because he was present.
Right.
And so through this Steve and Dustin budding relationship, when Dustin basically tells Steve, hey, we have to go do something about this, Steve pulls over the car, opens the truck, and pulls out that fucking bag.
Right.
He carried it around with him, waiting, because he knew he was going to have to do it again.
Right.
That's a great character moment for Steve. He does not get that in this season at all.
It sucks, because it really set up that Steve was kind of going to be like the Ash of this universe, almost. And
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, and it really... At least the 4 episodes I've watched, it does not pays off. It's a lot of him in a sailor's outfit and not looking very cool.
The other challenge to that is, and this is kind of backwards to what I just said, is making Billy the villain is okay, it makes sense, but God, it would have been so much better if they did Steve.
It's
even after what they did with Steve in season 2. If you do what happens to Billy in the first episode and you do that to Steve, God, that would be gut-wrenching.
There would have been stakes because you liked him. When we were texting about this before, I likened it to Locke and Lost. How they instead in the early episode, and me and Christian both love Lost. But one of my few disappointments was in the early episodes, they really teased that Locke is the big villain of the show. And they kind of cop out at the end by spoilers for Lost, which is a decade-old show.
It's not worth your time anyway.
They kill him off, and then they bring him back as the embodiment of the smoke monster. I think that was a cop-out.
Yep.
I think this was a similar cop-out, because I think maybe Steve was meant to be this at one point, and when he became so likable, they instead introduced this other character to do the same
Who's
thing.
just shitty.
Who's just shitty.
And they do a little bit, Billy, you see a little bit in season 2, he's like beaten by his dad, and they do a little bit more of that in season 3. But he's never relatable.
Right. No, you never not hate him.
Yeah.
The one time in this you kind of feel for him is when he's trying to talk to Max and tell him that
Yeah.
I don't really mean anything I'm doing, but you know that he's lying.
Yeah.
You know, so one more thing I have to say on it. In the first season, Winona Ryder as Joyce was great.
Yep.
And, because she was right and we knew we were right, but she was so frazzled and crazy.
Nobody could believe it.
And no one could believe her. She's still playing that character and she's still doing a good job of it, but it doesn't make sense because why wouldn't people believe her?
Yeah.
Like, this shit happens all the time at this point.
Especially Hopper, because there's like 2 episodes in the beginning where they just fucking argue about what's going on the whole time.
Right.
About the magnets.
Right, and Hopper should have just been like, I'm on board.
You're 100%. Yeah, I got you.
I do respect that Hopper just got fat.
Yeah.
He got over being beefy, and he's like, man, I'm just going to be a fat dude. I like that.
There was one thing, and this is a mild spoiler, that I disliked when I saw it, and now I've kind of come around to it, which is the Soviets are to blame.
Right.
Which, at first, I was like, dear God, like, you really couldn't have picked anything more, like, 80s cheesy than the Soviets. However, I do understand that you can't keep making the U.S. government the villain every season.
Right.
So who's a natural substitute? The commies.
Right.
And again, height of the Cold War, 80s thing. It makes sense. But I first thought it was super cheesy and tropey, though. The other thing I watched half of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I dig it. I think Joseph's going to have
We're going to talk more about it.
So far, I like it. But I haven't got to the crazy part yet. So that's it.
I mean, I just did mine. I talked to him about Stranger Things, and that's really the only thing I've had a chance to watch this week.
I've watched a couple of things this week, actually. I've been watching Season 2 of One Punch Man because it's over, and I just wanted to plow through the whole thing. It's taken a bit of a different direction. One is a different animation studio, and it's not as good quality animation, especially the fight sequences, which is a bit of a disappointment for a fighting show. But one of the other things, the show, the first season, is largely a comedy. The whole point is there's this world of heroes and monsters and constant clash with each other, but there's this one guy who decided he was going to be a hero for fun and accidentally became the most powerful person in the universe by like an immeasurable amount. To the point where nothing even challenged him.
Right.
And so for the first season, you spend a lot of time following him around where he's just stumbles into these weird situations.
It'll be like grocery shopping.
Yeah, and then like, oh, there's a terrible monster that's killing everyone. I'll just hit him and swat him away and he'll whatever. But then in like 2 episodes, maybe it's 2 to 3 episodes of the first season, you experience a story where he's not there. And it's like what happens when he's not there. Right. And it's fucking horrifying.
Right.
It goes terribly for everyone.
Yeah.
And so the second season is a lot more of that, where he is just not where the action is, where the camera stuff is happening, and everything is terrible where he is not.
Right.
And so it's not as funny because like it feels like shit. This world is fucking terrifying to live in. Right. But I mean, when they do the jokey bits, it's still funny. But it's like the first season is side-splittingly funny, which is a lot to say for an anime.
Does it still rely on the like subversion thing that the first season, really like harps home? Like season 1 really subverts a lot of tropes.
Yeah, it's not. It's the second season of a comedy. You can't do all the same new. Like the jokes aren't as new anymore, but it's still good. I'm still plowing through it. If you haven't seen the first season, I highly recommend it. The wife and I started watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I don't know. It's the show about the woman in the 60s who becomes or 50s who becomes a stand-up comedian. It's not okay by societal standards, and she has children and whatever. It's written by the same woman who wrote Gilmore Girls, and a lot of women really like it, and so I was kind of skeptical going into it. I like Gilmore Girls. It's fine. It's really entertaining.
I've heard nothing but great things.
It won like all the awards and stuff. I
just mean from people I know who watch it.
Yeah. Are they women?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, so the thing that surprised me in the first episode, the thing that I wasn't expecting, there are tits in this show?
Yes.
Which at first made me think that like I had misjudged who the audience was for this show, but I think they were still just trying to sell, hey, this is a show for adults, and we're just admitting that regardless of sexual preference, no one's interested in a flaccid penis. But like it's funny. The main girl, Rachel Brosnan's really good. Really the whole cast sells it. Like her parents, well, I can't remember the actress who plays her mother, but Tony Shalhoub is her father. Kevin Pollak is her husband's father. Like, everyone is fucking killing it. Also, Tony Shalhoub, I feel like, is kind of underrated for his career.
100%.
He got stuck in Monk role, and Monk's great. It's a great show. It just went on too long. But that dude is versatile.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's on Amazon. 2 seasons are out. I'm still in the first season, but it's an hour long, which is not my favorite, but it's worth it. It's really funny. And then, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I finished Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is, the seminal anime series from the 90s that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
I just want to say, on my opinion, on one thing that you commented on, I fucking love the art in it. I know Joseph said he didn't really like the animation style. I really, really like it a lot.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is like, visually, it's really striking. Again, my issue wasn't, I like the art style, but I feel like there's quality issues in executing it. Like they couldn't quite get the definition on certain things that they wanted to, but like the structure of how they want the shots is there, and it's still like interesting and striking. And that's the problem, is like the story is interesting. It's definitely like, it's one of those things where it's trying to operate on a lot of levels. It's got like a main story. It's got like this analogy for the great good and evil and the hearts of men and blah, 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 which is fine. And I don't think it's kind of falls in the same problem that a lot of these series that try to tackle a lot of different layers of things. I don't feel like it delivers on all of those things by the end of it. But yeah, like the art style is really great. I've only listened to the dub, but the dub is good, and the world is cool. Like, it's kind of a mech show, but it's also like, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it too much. But there's as you go on, there's like a larger conspiracy going on besides just giant robots fighting evil monsters from space kind of thing.
So this is the redubbed version, right?
Yeah.
Had you watched the original?
No.
All right. Because the one thing I'm wondering is, does the redub change the story?
I don't think so, and I don't want to get into that. There's a thing that was accused of straight washing. I don't think that is what happens.
Right.
Because it's a real gay scene, even in the redub.
Right.
So the big problem is, apparently the show suffered some big budgetary issues, which I didn't know. So I just watched the series like a normal person, from beginning to end. There's 26 episodes. 24th episode is you think it's either the end and the last episode's like a date, like, again, like the coming down, whatever, or there's like one big conflict that you think might be there at one episode after that.
Right.
And then you do like come down. But instead of that, they go completely abstract. So I found out that episode 24 is where that happens. 25 and 26 turns out are alternate endings. They're not sequential episodes.
Right.
And instead of like, finishing the story about young teenage students piloting these mechs and fighting monsters, it goes like fully abstract into like a fucking 2-episode long dream sequence of like discovering like, why are we here? What is humanity for? Are we good? Like that's I'm not fucking kidding you. That is like the whole fucking 2 episodes.
Like, I've never seen it, but I can remember this as it was happening.
Well, that's good.
And like I remember basically there was everyone sort of hated the ending. They were just like, they had loved the show. It was like, oh, this is the best anime ever. Hated the ending. And then I believe they go back and redo the ending.
Well, it's funny you say that, Herb, because they do, and they've also put that movie redubbed on Netflix.
Right. Because I think that they, like, if I remember correctly, it changes the ending, but it's also like almost a looking in the camera and saying, you're stupid for
100% is what that happens. The subsequent movie came out, I guess, a year or two after the end of the series, called End of Evangelion, which essentially kind of bridges the gap between the end of episode 24 and then the weird abstract shit that happens.
Right.
And you remember how I talked earlier about how every episode is kind of like the world is at stake and it's like this latched plan that doesn't make sense.
Right.
But everyone's kind of blasé about it and it always works out. In this one, it does not work out at all. And it goes really, really bad.
Right.
And so, like, it's just one of those things where tonally, it's like super different.
Right.
It gets really. The whole series gets really fucking graphic at the end, both violence and nudity.
Right.
And just bizarre nonsense happens at the end. But the thing that bothers me about it is not all that. I can live with the weird shit. The problem for me is the series has always been, to me, from the beginning, you follow a couple of the pilots of the robots. They're all teenagers. There's 3 of them by the middle of it. And they all have their own stories. They all bring their own thing to the table. And, they're supposed to be representing humanity versus this great other.
Right.
But the main character, Shinji, to me, has always been like, he has been the representation of the human soul.
Right.
So this guy's fight as the human soul against these external monsters is like, essentially, I'm fighting for the right of humanity to exist. I'm fighting for, we have a place in this world kind of thing. Which I do think is what happened. Like, that's what the series is about, and I do think that's what they're doing with the ending. But the thing that kills me is I feel like the end Shinji is like a fucking monster.
Right.
And the rest of the series has just been kind of a quiet kid who really needs to come out of his shell.
Right.
Like, he's like, I'm going to spoil this shit for you because I don't think you should watch it. He's like jerking off to unconscious girls in hospital beds.
What?
He's choking bitches everywhere. It is like
crazy.
It's fucked. And I'm just...
That's in the show or in the movie?
That's in the movie. Yeah, the movie is like holding the birds out to you the whole time. Be like, is this what you wanted? No. So, like, to me, and I've read a bunch of justifications about it. I've read things that, like, the connections between how they got from, the series to there. And I think there's some merit there, and I do think there's definitely some people who, like, they're making that story better than it is because they loved the potential of it.
Right.
I was really frustrated by the ending as a whole.
So, as someone who's never watched this, if I was going to watch it, should I stick with the first ending or watch the movie? Which one am I going to be
I don't care.
less satisfied for?
The way it makes you just so fucking frustrated, I'm like, I have to experience this.
Oh, man, do not watch this with your family.
No, I won't. Of course not.
Well, so it's funny. I need to double check this, but I think it's derived from the same base as that Devilman Crybaby show that I watched and would not recommend to anyone ever. But it's funny because watching the ending is like which one would be harder to watch with someone else in the room? Right. The ending of this or the ending of Devilman Crybaby? And I'm honestly not sure.
Wow. Right. I will say, I talked about this. I was supposed to say it's very clear that fucking Guillermo del Toro loved the shit out of this show.
It is.
Because Pacific Rim takes fucking everything.
So, that's the thing. Like, it's a really cool world.
And Shinji is the model of almost every male lead anime character.
Sure, I don't think he's the first one, but yeah, for sure. I don't know what to tell you as far as which one is more unsatisfying, because I thought to myself, nothing can be as unsatisfying as the ending where we don't really solve anything. We just, go through a psych/philosophy 101 class in 22 minutes. But then the actual ending happens where you feel like it betrays these characters that you've been with this whole time.
So Game of Thrones.
And somehow it is. No, it's very Game of Thrones. And that is that feels like a deeper hurt to me.
I think I just thought of an idea for a future episode.
Okay.
We should find a classic anime that's like sort of beloved that you two guys haven't watched and have all of us watch it.
Okay.
Because I think it would be
down.
I think it would be cool because you guys are on board.
Yeah.
I'm sort of Switzerland, and Ian is like opposed.
Could we do that to Ian?
I think that would be the most fun part.
Especially since he's not here to defend himself.
It's happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
let's end this shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if Neon Genesis Evangelion is better or worse than Transformers.
It's probably hard to rate it against that.
I still think it's... I having seen the whole fucking series to the end, if I had gone to episode 24, better than Transformers. Everything after that, worse than Transformers, and kind of retroactively worse than Transformers. It's kind of the ending of True Detective Season 2, which, by the way, I saw a YouTube clip again this week of fucking Colin Farrell in True Detective Season 2. I forgot how great he is in that.
He's awesome.
He's amazing. That series...
I think he's good enough in it to fix any problem.
Just almost. Anyway... That's all I've been watching. That's a whole screed on Neon Genesis Evangelion. This might be a side episode. We'll see.
We talked a lot about Stranger Things.
Like, we talked about Stranger Things enough to call it a Stranger Things episode.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Please rate, subscribe, and tell all your friends if you want to get in touch with us. If you have any other feelings on Stranger Things Season 3 or Neon Genesis Evangelion, if you fucking think that show is good, please explain it to me. I would really like to know. I've read a lot of articles on it, and I still I'm not sure. If you want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, we're at Real Phonies. We're on Instagram at Real_Phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. See you guys later.